Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in Odessa Dark Crusade Season 2. On this dark and depressing night, which is most nights in Odessa, really, particularly the most recent ones, considering the curfew. There has been a great emergency among the royal family of Odessa. Of the family of House Almaquet. One of the regent's children, his eldest daughter, has fallen gravely ill. And unable to secure a relevant treatment from the royal physicians, the Dark Ages being what they are, a call has been sent out across the city to find any other talent that may be able to save the life of this poor man's daughter. Needless to say, several have attempted to take the Regent up on his offer and have largely failed miserably. At best, forestalling the sickness, at worst, literally hastening it. For those that do, their fates are not kind, and they are not seen again. There is, however, a gentleman who has been preparing to answer this call, but on his own terms. One who is most certain that he has a treatment for whatever malady the regent's daughter may possess. But to employ it is something that takes a measure of risk, in fact, a great measure of risk indeed, and he has had to take his time to prepare for these numerous risks. Should worst come to worst, if nothing else, he won't be losing anything if a girl kills over before he can prepare. But despite several weeks of illness, the girl has yet to succumb to illness. And it is the Merchant of Bones who heeds the call, as well as securing the supposed aid of two of his contacts from other clans. Aldrich of Clan Tremere and Sheriff Gerard of Clan Ventry. And together they make their way over to the palace, the domain of the prince. Hmm.
I mean, Gerard's already here, like office hours and all that.
Aldrich will show up after feeding, um, looking quite as healthy as the victorious of the city do, and yeah, I suppose then he would first be greeted by Gerard on his way to the point.
Well, we could all gather at Gerard's office before we go do the thing.
You are more than free to do that before you do the thing.
I mean, it's just a nice place to get all the pleasantries out of the way.
Mm.
Plus, you're really inconveniencing him, so I need you to come beg for a minute.
Merchants of Bones is going to be late anyway.
Yeah, I'm assuming that Merchant of Bones will arrive late. He doesn't seem to be, when he comes in, he doesn't seem to be wearing like his typical mask or anything like that. Instead, he's wearing like a shroud with a deep hood. Much of it having the shadow cover his face. Though once he brings himself before Gerard and Aldrich, he he pulls back the hood and reveals a much more vivacious face, much more than what you've seen from him in the past. His skin looks a little fuller, much more warm. He doesn't look as corpse-like as he has before. And he just says, "So, how do I look?"
The picture of health.
You look like a man who is prepared.
Would I be remiss to say that I don't think I am comfortable looking like this? I'm so used to how I usually am. It's a very strange feeling.
A good one, I pray.
At least for the time being. It's good that this is only temporary. But much needed for what is taking place tonight. I couldn't very well be a walking corpse walking in there. The Zemitzi have very interesting abilities.
Tell me about it. Gerard says, remembering the florist.
More like...
Aldrich.
Go ahead.
Aldrich smiles in Tremere.
I can't proclaim to know that much, but this wondrous ability, and he kind of brings his gloved hands to press against like his cheeks and stuff. He was able to sculpt a partially new face, apparently with just his fingers.
Disgusting.
But useful nonetheless, it seems.
I do hope your face doesn't begin to melt halfway through.
Deep in the back of my mind, that is a worry. And quite unfortunate for those who bear witness to such an event.
Oh, you're so dour. Cheer up. I'm sure it'll be fine. It was a joke.
He just kind of does that whole thing. Like you said, it's his demeanor. His demeanor is just much more placated than usual. You know, like This just really kind of, it's just kind of against his nature, his blood, you know. So um, it seems like he'll just need to get over it. He'll get over it.
Oh, then we shouldn't dally.
We shouldn't. If all goes well, this hopefully won't take very long. 30 minutes max, hopefully. I'd rather not stay in that place longer than need be.
Well, if it doesn't, then well, if all doesn't go well, then just keep in mind that you would be breaching the prince's domain. So
He just opens his mouth and just kind of like bites on his like his gloved finger, like, thanks for that.
Gerard pats him on the back.
Yeah, I will. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks, Gerard. You really raised my spirits. That's a Cappadocian joke, by the way. But yeah, if you two are ready, we can take my carriage if you like, or if you prefer, Gerard, take yours.
Isn't it in the palace?
Wait, I don't know.
Is this taking place in the palace? Is the girl in the palace or in a private residence?
Oh yeah, girl is in the palace.
Oh,
We are in the palace.
oh.
Apparently,
Well
the merchant don't sense of direction is fucking awful.
Hey, the only way he knows is south, because that's where all the dead hang out.
Deep south.
Oh yes.
Emma is fucking rolling in her fucking
Rolling in a grave. Hey,
Mm.
Ain't dead yet. That's about as lighthearted as this scene's gonna get.
No.
Yeah.
The entire scene is really just to cause any suffering. But anyway, we move onward. There isn't actually that much activity in the palace itself. It's surprisingly quiet. There aren't too many servants about. It's so quiet that you can kind of really, the only sound there is the sound of your own footsteps echoing through the corridors. Gerard, you know way around this place a bit better than everybody else here because you've been here several times before, and the prince has invited you here on several occasions. You know your way around the palace fairly well at this point. So you're able to lead them to the main floors where there's a lot of where there is quite a lot of, it's kind of a bunch of bedrooms lined up with each other. Basically, this fourth floor is largely just private rooms and bedrooms in their own little cordoned off from
Dormitories.
each other. Yeah, it's basically you have kind of the balcony in the center of the palace. It kind of overlooks the rest of the kind of the Great Hall on the ground floor where everything went down a few months ago. And every floor up has their own balcony, and there's a bunch of hallways that kind of dart off from this main kind of circular balcony pseudo hall. And most of them on the fourth floor contain bedrooms, private rooms. the hall you go down does kind of open up into a slightly larger room because it is a bedroom made for royalty. So that opens up a little bit beforehand. You do see more guards up here. Naturally. And you see several figures of several noble-looking figures, basically two bickering with the captain of the palace guard here. You can roll intelligence politics if you want to find out who they are.
Oh my.
Do I have a
yes.
politic? Do I has a politic?
Can I has politics?
I has a politic.
If you have politics, you may roll it. If you do not possess the politics knowledge, you may not.
I has the politics.
Alright, you go do that.
I has the politic. Robbie thinks that the king is here. The king of Edessa.
Well, we're off to a good start.
So one of these nobles is you recognize him as a fraudster. He looks like that guy who'd sold cheap trinkets down at Abraham's fountain a while ago, claiming they had been blessed by Abraham and the fountain. You know, typical kind of scam artistry to exploit travelers and pilgrims who are too naive to see through the ruse. Somehow he's managed to either it was the noble or he's disguised himself to engage in a far more elaborate con job. That's that guy. He's clearly a fraud in disguise.
Casting Lure of Flames.
Spontaneous human combustion, go.
Mm-hmm.
You dare in the house of the king!
Let's see. We got the Merchant Bones and Gerard. Gerard, you got 2 successes. So yeah, you recognize the captain of the guard. I mean, you see him a lot. Yeah, you obviously know him. You recognize one of the figures arguing with the captain of the guard. Is one of the chief advisors for the regent in the city.
See.
Very, very important fellow. Not actually of any particular noble house. You understand his history to be that of something more of a well-educated secretary for one of the regent's former advisors before his untimely death, and he had worked his way politically up the food chain until he got to where he is now.
So,
quite an interesting bit of intrigue, really.
Indeed.
So he's something of a success story. Imagine Bones, you recognize all of them in great detail. So you got a 6, a 7, a 6, a 10, and a 5. So you recognize all of them. You recognize You recognize the second figure as the eldest son of a regent. Looks to be in his late 20s at this point. One of 5 children. 3 sons, 2 daughters. He is considered the heir apparent in the event of the regent's demise, but he's not considered. He's considered, funnily enough, a bit young for the role. He's kind of considered too inexperienced, and a lot of that narrative is kind of based around the sort of. It's a bit of a cloak for the real reasons people don't really want him in charge right now. They think he's a bit rash. He's in some ways he's a bit of a brute, of a bully. Things that they hope things that the rest of the nobility think time will kind of take from him and make him a far more reasonable, rational ruler. And he's not considered a complete fool. It's just he's considered brutish, a little bit dangerous, a little bit over aggressive. And people kind of put that under the guise of youth more so than anything else, to avoid telling him the reality of who he is, so they won't have their heads cut off by his dad.
What a beast.
Pardon?
Nothing.
You recognize the advisor. You get the same information Gerard did. You recognize the captain of the palace guard, and it appears the advisory figure, and the eldest son of Regent are trying to advise the captain to take to escort the Regent out of the room, as apparently he has not been sleeping properly at all. And while his love for his daughter is surely most immense and insurmountable, they fear for the safety of his mind and body, and fear he too will become infected by this terrible disease, which seems to be draining the life from his daughter. And so they've been trying to convince him to do that, but he is fairly resolute in saying no. I take orders from the Regent, not from you. He's fairly straightforward with them. He's not rude, but he does literally tell them he takes orders from the Regent, not from them. And their wishes do not overrule that of the Regent. The advisory figure breaks off from this, though, as soon as he sees you all.
So, as they approach, Gerard's probably going to take point and just sort of look around at all those gathered and say, "What is the meaning of this?"
The palace captain speaks up first. These gentlemen, while well-intentioned, would have me overrule the wishes of His Majesty, which I cannot do. And the advisory figure just says, "Nonsense, nonsense. We just fear for His Majesty's safety. We'd never seek to overrule him on any matter whatsoever. I presume you are..." He looks He'll bow to you, in fact, Gerard, and I think only you, because he probably recognizes you in some capacity, or has maybe heard of you in passing.
You know, I'm a noble. Gerard, well, like, which one is the charlatan?
It is the advisory figure that is apparently the charlatan.
The one that's making a beeline away.
He's the one he broke off to speak with you.
Okay,
You recognize this as who he actually is. Aldrich thinks he's a fraud.
Oh, I got it. Got it. So,
I must say, this is a strange yet opportune moment to bring medical assistance.
yes. Well, Gerard turns and gestures towards Selim and says, "You will find none better. If there is any hope of saving the Regent's daughter, it is." Oh, Adam. I didn't mention a name though.
Fair enough. I'm just saying.
You will not find better than my friend here.
Merchant of, or Adam will shuffle forth. I meant to say that he brought his medical bag with him with all his like tools of the trade, so to speak. But he will step forward and offer a small bow. One, because he is, just kind of disabled. So, but yes, he steps forth and just says, "Yes, good to see see what aid I can bring this child."
If nothing else, I hope you can at least reverse the damage the last fools did to her.
May I ask you to expound? What exactly did these fools do to her?
Not that it is of any particular relevance to yourself, but we discovered that they were trying to have the honorable lady killed, and as such they were put to death.
What a shame.
They only hastened her sickness. It was only due to the great eyes and wits of our captain here that they were caught, and he was able to see the great harm that they were doing to the lady's body. You can't just roll me wits politics if you want. Oh, Mushroom Bones, he sounds legit.
No, sir.
Okay, Gerard, you're aware that this is a fairly obvious cover for they did a shit job, so did we killed them.
Yet again.
They were
assassins everywhere.
yeah, you're yeah. They're clearly assassins. Clearly a team of assassins masqueraded as doctors to kill the Regent's eldest daughter. Most likely to lash out against the prince's will and the domain.
The expression is as pictured.
This is clearly this goes beyond simple mortal politics for yourself, Lord Aldrich. This appears to be the Jihadin play. Most
Aldrich.
likely Ventru ghouls or dominated vessels.
He's silently readying himself for yet another skirmish in the palace.
I mean, the last one didn't end particularly well for you. Why would this one? These rolls.
Exactly.
The look on Aldrich's face. He's breaking behind us.
Oh, that's just Robbie's role as he witnesses all these ones.
Get him
but
out
yeah.
now. Get him out now.
I see. Well, then.
You understand, Gerard, that you really don't. Much Bones really doesn't want to fuck up here.
No.
I'm sorry.
Well,
whatever trick he might have in store, he doesn't want it to fail, because it seems whenever people fail to cure the daughter of her ailment, they die.
Well, I am not from this place. I know only of his exploits, and they were of great service to Edessa in her darkest time during the plague. Heroic, even. So, it is the best I can do. It is all we can hope for, I think, at this point.
Gerard certainly likes to boast about me, but I will certainly try to live up to the reputation that he is laid up for you regarding me.
I have heard many good things about you and your work during the plague epidemic. Certainly hope if anyone is to find a cure to the lady's illness, it be you. If only so that her hell may end.
I would not go so far as to give my personal seal of approval. But he's good.
That takes the wind out of this guy's sails pretty quickly.
Hey, man.
Gee, thanks, Gerard. His face just melts. Cries. His fucking skin just falls off. Just kidding.
I have to insulate myself in case you mess up, man.
I know, I gotcha. He's not fussed. He's like, I just want to get this done and over with.
May we see her?
Of course, the Regent is inside. And needless to say, his temperament is poor. Obviously perfectly understandable. Please show your respects upon entry.
Of course.
Thank you for the insight. And Adam will follow Gerard.
Yeah, if they let us through, Gerard will open the door and step inside.
Aldrich will step inside last, watching his back.
Yeah, he turns around, does that spy turn. Like, I see you.
Yeah. Walking in backwards.
You walk in. As the door opens, you hear the smashing of glass against it. You actually see shards kind of fly as the door is open, not through the door, but off the door. as you see a fairly old-looking man in royal garb as he just shouts to his advisor and really to the rest of you. I told you not to disturb us! He has a far deeper voice than I can portray.
My lord, I apologize for the intrusion, but I come bringing hope.
Aldrich, on the other hand, like, all but puts his hand in the fucking fire ready position.
Okay.
But, like, it's only for, like, a second, and then he, like, just kind of pops back to, like, casual.
Ooh, the Regent's eyes flick to you in an instant. Everyone roll me. I want everybody to roll 2 rolls. First one is charisma etiquette, and the second one to be actually, yeah, anyone who has medicine may roll perception medicine on the Regent.
Okay, so charisma etiquette.
Charisma etiquette first. Everybody first make your charisma etiquette rolls. All you need to do is not. Oh, keep. Well.
Do better than I've been doing.
Okay.
Here's a first roll.
Okay, so everybody but the noble in the room manages to kind of present themselves accordingly. Fortunately, if nothing else, Gerardi is a well-respected noble, so he can perhaps at least afford to get away with it once. Yeah, and everyone who has medicine may roll perception medicine.
Oh, come on.
I got you, fam.
Okay. So, Aldrich, the Regent is clearly in a foul mood. He's obviously incredibly stressed, which has only been intensified by his lack of sleep. From what you can tell from a preliminary glance, he appears to be suffering from exhaustion and sleep deprivation. He does not appear to be infected with a particular illness, though. He just, although he would be quite vulnerable to infection at this point, given his sleep-deprived state.
Aldrich kind of leans in casually to the Merchant of Bones, says as much, and just kind of asks at the end, would you concur?
Do not whisper in my presence. Speak clearly or do not.
My apologies. Sorry.
He gets up a little bit slowly. Again, Aldrich, you can tell he's quite tired. He's like, and not just tired, exhausted. Not really physically fit to be moving around right now. Who is this hope you bring me? I certainly hope it is. More well-intentioned than the last.
Adam.
Charlatans who walk through these doors.
A lot of fucking charlatans in the palace today.
Adam shuffles forth. Probably doesn't look too much different from him as far as, the demeanor goes, because of his leg. He probably looks just about equally as tired almost. But he pipes up and he says, "I certainly hope to bring you good news this evening, my lord. I am Adam. I have come to assist with bringing your daughter back to health. And if I may I be honest with you?"
There is just a stare.
I merely pose a question. How long have you not had... You look like you have not had much sleep. Is this correct?
You are not here to tend to the concerns of faltering idiots. And he just kind of like forcefully pushes down the advisor with one arm. What rumors have you been spreading about me in my absence? That I am weak, not fit, that I am insane. Get out of my sight.
Merchant of Bones just raises an eyebrow. Like,
And you, I would trust you, he points at you, to focus on your tasks here and not the scheming of idiotic parasites.
of course, my lord. I can promise you that I will focus on your daughter. That is not without question. But as a doctor, I must also be concerned about you as well. Which is why I posed a question. I would not think you, well, excuse me. I just believe you are a father who is worried about his daughter, which is understandable. And such has brought you to the condition you are now, at least from what I'm seeing.
I'm in no condition. Tend to my daughter or get out. He's obviously clearly mentally distraught. But he just kind of wanders back to his chair as if to say, this conversation is over. Kind of giving you the ultimatum.
Sure. He'll walk over towards the daughter and give her a look over. What does Selim see so far?
Roll me perception medicine.
Would Auspex help lower that difficulty at all?
Yes, it would.
All right. I'm assuming if it goes by, if heightened senses would go, I would have 5.
We'll lower the difficulty by 2 for this because it's there's only so much information you can garner.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Do you have a specialty?
Surgery.
Not relevant here.
Nope.
So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. You lose 1 from the 1. You get a 4 as well. So it'd be 4 successes. Okay. I'll PM you the information.
Okie dokie.
In the meantime, we'll feel free to talk to the Regent. The Regent kind of looks at Aldrich. Is Aldrich doing anything right now?
Nope. He is silently contemplating motioning to the Merchant of Bones' side, but he opts against for the time being.
The Regent kind of points a bit aggressively, but very briefly and lazily at you, Aldrich. Who is this?
Aldrich is going to assume that it's not him being spoken to. Oh.
Yeah,
right.
he's like speaking to the rest of the group as if to say, is literally asking, who is this random person?
This is Aldrich the Wise. He's a learned scholar and an assistant of Adam here.
So yeah, basically the Merchant of Bones will go about doing the normal thing a doctor would do to kind of gauge, how far along she is And
You can
yeah.
roll intelligence medicine to try and stabilize her condition.
May I spend a willpower point?
Yeah, sure. Because I certainly know what I was going to do if you botched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 successes. So, yeah, you get to work. You know what the problem is. Very methodical. Very you kind of enter that state where a lot of people passionate about their work kind of get into, where it's kind of all you see. And the world just kind of disapparates around you as you kind of getting to work on this rather sickly looking girl. Oh, lady, I think she's about 19. One sec. I should get an image up of her. There you go. She looks a lot paler than she does in this picture. Even her veins are showing a little bit. Judging from the smell, she's clearly thrown up at least once. She appears to have coughed up blood at least once as well. Clearly bedridden, catatonic, largely unresponsive to what people are doing in the room.
Is around this time that Aldrich will actually physically move to come to Adam's side.
Yeah. Gerard, can you roll me charisma expression to sell me on that because you failed your etiquette roll?
I could.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend a willpower because
Also, it's only diff 5 because you do have a lot of noble influence, so you do have a lot of respect. Not necessarily of him, but within everybody that surrounds him. So, yeah, you sell him on it. He just kind of starts ignoring kind of Aldrich and acknowledges your statement, sort of, by not lashing out in return. Although he looks very grim and darkly at you before turning to take a seat by his daughter.
Is by that time that Adam will kind of just give it like a side casual glance, like like you said, like the world's kind of just moving around him. He kind of just gets in that zone. Well, like the presence of this regent kind of like breaks that, and he kind of gives like this side casual look, and then continues about going about his business, but definitely more mindful of the regent, and just says that it's a good thing that I came when I've did this evening. There's still some more work I need to do, but I believe I understand the problem. Though I must ask that you pray. All of you. Pray. I need to work with her. I need you all to go and pray.
The regent will begin praying before his daughter. Very silently.
Aldrich will kind of audibly move physically away from Adam, so that the sound of his footsteps are known, kind of pierce the silence. And he'll stand a good few feet away from the regent, kind of clasp his hands in front of him with all due etiquette, and he will pipe up just a bit and say, "My lord."
I will roll me wits etiquette.
Absolutely.
This would be really funny if you watch.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You understand trying to talk to him while he was praying for his daughter is when he's already in an antagonistic mood is I normally wouldn't apply the word dangerous for mortals considering what you are, but for him it might actually be so.
Yeah, Aldrich will patiently wait. Well, I imagine actually specifically, how is he praying?
He's got his fingers knitted together with with the with a symbol of the kind of crescent adorned over them. Kind of like a little necklace.
Okay, so this is like a rosary.
Yeah, basically.
Alrighty.
He's using it's basically prayer beads.
Okay. Aldrich will patiently wait for him to finish praying while exchanging something of a glance over to Adam, as as if to convey, like, I'm just gonna give him a second.
Since he has Auspex 4, he's gonna ping you via telepathy and be like, I need you to get him out of here and everybody else out of here.
So to ping a vampire with telepathy, it's a little bit more complicated than vampires.
Oh.
Mortals are actually quite easy, but vampires there's a slightly more complexity to them. One moment as I just look it up, because they do make an exception for supernatural creatures.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
So first you need to roll intelligence, subterfuge, difficulty equal to the victim's current willpower, which is probably not a lot for Aldrich. Sad days.
Yeah.
And Yeah, using it on a vampire requires you to spend a willpower point to do it.
Really?
Yeah, a vampire's mind is particularly hard to probe, and even attempting it requires the Auspex user's player to spend a willpower point. So you will need to spend a willpower point when using it against Kindred.
Would it be possible for him to convey that by mundane means, like with a glance, as he's already proclaimed that everyone needs to pray?
If he says something that could imply that, yes. I mean, prayer could imply that, but obviously it can be interpreted in enough ways that it doesn't necessarily mean leave the room.
It's very hard to do what I need to do with so many over my shoulder. Aldrich, may I have your assistance?
Yes. And I guess if the Regent is still praying, he'll head over to the Regent's entourage and kind of rather who all is still left there?
So the only people that are really left is the captain of palace guard outside. He's outside. He's not really. You don't know if he's listening in, but he's certainly not inside the room. Inside the room, there are two very well-armed guards. Extremely well-armored as well.
Okay,
Have
but
big old halberds.
Okay.
Actually, no, I don't think they'd have. Would they have halberds? No, they wouldn't. I think they just, as a Western thing, I think they just have, just more like, yeah, they have swords and spears. Yeah, you can see they have a sword as a sidearm and a big old large spear.
Right.
Someone with.
If it's just the guards and the Regent, Knight's present, as well as the daughter, obviously, he'll look back to the guards, just to take that account of everyone that's in the room, and then back to the Regent, and yeah, is he still praying?
Oh yeah, he ain't gonna stop. Whatever. What's his face? whatever. Adam did appears to at least have staved off the worst of the situation. So he's praying. He'll probably continue for at least a few more minutes.
Aldrich will give kind of a sympathetic look to Adam, and then back to the Regent, as he will continue to wait.
So Adam will kind of sidestep a little close to the Regent as he goes to move down some of the blanket to kind of give her some more breathing room and kind of help give her some air, so to speak, and probably just bump into him, because basically kind of go limp on the side of his leg, on his bad leg. That makes sense. Since he's probably like leaning over anyways.
Yeah, he kind of just bats it away with his foot. And kind of, his sharply turns towards you and just says, "Watch your foot."
With the break, Aldrich will totally lean into that opening and to say, "My lord, your daughter is in the most capable hands in all of Edessa and the neighboring kingdoms. The procedure with which the good doctor will be undergoing requires precision and focus, both best achieved in silence. Your daughter is a very brave young woman, a most noble lady, radiant in every sense of the word. One that would certainly attract the most wealthy and decorated suitors from all corners of the globe. You're a concerned father. Your dedication to your daughter and your family cannot be questioned nor spoken ill of. A most honorable man indeed." Then he will say, "Are you familiar with Revelation, chapter 2, verse 10?
One sec.
Not a problem. Aldrich will recite it. Like, if the Regent gives him, like, so much as a moment, like, to recite it.
You're referring to the Book of Revelations, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That is a book of the Christian faith. And this guy is clearly a Muslim. I'll give you that one.
Oh, okay. Well, my bad. Shit.
I feel bad because I'm ruining your thing.
It's all right. I had a different passage up for the Muslim faith, but the beads kind of ruined that.
You get a passage. You get a passage. You get a passage. Everybody gets a passage.
Shit. No, I don't have a passage prepared anymore. But he would have a good one.
Sundays.
And after he recites the good one, he would very calmly activate dominate and say just something very short, something along the lines of
Oh yeah, you do have theology, Islam.
Damn right I do. He says something. This is
fair.
Something along the lines of show me where you where your prayer room is and pray with me. Something to that regard.
Sorry, what did you say to him?
Show me where your prayer room is and pray with me.
Cool. Well, okay, yeah, roll it. Roll your... What is it? Manipulation leadership for level 2? It is manipulation leadership.
It is okay. Right.
I'll tell you, difficulty's gonna be... He's the Regent. I'll say he's difficulty 6 because he's the Regent.
He's also been having nightmares. Does that take it down at all?
No, he hasn't been having nightmares. He's just not been sleeping.
Okay.
So he can't have nightmares because he's not been sleeping.
Alright. Well, I mean, that, like, he's exhausted. I didn't know if that would have an effect on it. But, so, difficulty 6. Can I spend a point of willpower?
Not for discipline rolls.
Alright.
Well, you get 3 successes, which is actually a fairly comfortable amount. And yeah, you look into the Regent's eyes, you say these words, his eyes glaze over a little bit. Gerard and Merchant of Bones both see this. The guards don't because they're at the door, so they're at the other side. And his body kind of untenses a little bit. As his entire mood seems to change on a whim, and he just says, "Of course, right this way." And we'll lead Aldrich out of the room so they can pray together.
So the room, what do the guards do?
The guards remain.
So once the regent leaves, and
the guards from just outside, on the other side of the doors, will follow there.
Yeah, right. So when everyone else leaves and a decent few moments pass, Gerard's going to look around to the remaining guards and say, "It is time that we leave the doctor to his work."
Okay, I'm. This might sound a bit patronizing. I'm honestly trying not to be, because if you actually have this, then this will be fine, and it'll work. Do you have a position within the palace?
As in,
I don't think you do. I don't recall you having one. I'm just double checking because if you do, they will. If you don't, then they're only taking orders from a very few amount of people.
I mean, I don't think that I have a position in the palace.
Okay.
I do, however, have presence.
Yeah, you do.
Therefore,
What's your presence power you're using?
I do believe that it is awe.
Or let me look that one up. I'm not sure if that'll be strong enough. I know entrancement and up would be.
I don't know if I can trance that many people, can I?
Pardon?
Can I entrance that many people?
You only entrance one person per use, but you can't just use it twice.
Oh, there's only two.
There's only two.
I could do that.
Mm. Yeah, I don't think all would be enough, but entrancement definitely would be. They'd feel very guilty over it, but they would do it.
So, how's about this? How about we instead use La Majesty?
Or you could just do that.
And imply very heavily that the Regent would be very displeased if Adam's concentration were to be broken by a stray cough or such. And that they will be within arm's reach just outside the door should anything happen. Assure them that they will be just outside the door at arm's reach should anything happen.
Okay.
Would you like me to roll Charisma Intimidate or Manipulation Intimidation?
Are you trying to be mundane? Are you using mundane abilities, or are you using majesty?
I'm using Majesty. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, you don't need to roll. It's
Okay.
majesty. The effect of majesty more or less sweeps across the entire room and just out, actually a fair distance outside of it as well. Because majesty does actually have quite a range as long as people just see you or sense you in any meaningful way. So Vildes at this point has left to leave the Captain of Palace Guard. The Captain of Palace Guard has still been outside. I use Majesty to drive these two guards away, and the Captain of the Palace Guard sees you, and I'll make a quick check of his own. Oh shit. Okay. The guards more or less kind of break from you immediately and immediately head out the door and take position there and kind of, say, yes, sir, of course, sir, in a very kind of groveling, oh, please don't kill us sort of fashion. The captain of the palace guard takes a step back upon seeing this happen, then stops, looks very alert, tenses for a moment, looks between the two guards. Wipes his brow with his hand, or his gauntlet rather, because he's wearing armor. And we'll just close the doors. He will actually go out of his way to close the doors.
I mean, Gerard's going to step outside too.
Okay.
With them.
He will do it anyway.
So, does Selim have the room?
Selim has the room.
All right. So, judging by how catatonic this woman is, would I have the freedom to do this ritual conscience-free, or should I definitely try to put her under? Using common sense and my doctoring knowledge.
Conscience free, sir. You have conviction. You don't care about this person. I mean, in her current, she hasn't responded to anything this entire time.
Oh Jesus! Okay.
She's bad, dude. The most she might have responded to was maybe like a muffled look on her face, or a slight turning during like the process of you stabilizing her and you seemingly having a positive effect.
Mm-hmm.
That puts some tiny spark of life back into her body.
Okay.
But yeah. She's not going to be aware of what you're doing.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So MLB is not going to waste any time. So he's going to spend a willpower point and then do this ritual. Is that okay?
Yep, roll it.
All right. It should be diff 7, so...
For the briefest of moments, I only saw that one.
I know! Dude, my stomach dropped so bad when I saw that one!
I'm like, oh, hi, Aldrich. I see you're here to kill the Regent's daughter.
Long
All
live
three of
the
us are
king.
re-rolling characters.
Long live.
She's an assassin. Those guys.
They're all assassins. I'm saving you, Adam.
Saving you from your own life. No. Okay, so the process, obviously, this is ritual's a very advanced one. It's a level 4 ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'm going to see how long this takes you, because rituals do actually have there's a system for how long a ritual takes based on the level.
Yeah, when I talked to you about it, you said 20 minutes. 5 minutes per level.
If I could maybe get rituals up. Yeah, 5 minutes per level, so it takes you 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you begin surrounding the sides of the bed with some complex, some simple alchemical components. Chalk, salt, certain compounds that you've purchased through no shortage of expense. It's actually quite a bit harder than it normally would be because obviously it's a bed, right? It's not a table.
Right.
It's not, and the person. It's so you literally have to do. You basically have to duck underneath the bed and draw out the rest of of uh, the very glorified ritual ritual square, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And to complete it, you have to draw it up on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
You then draw a small symbol on the forehead of your target with your own vitae, so as to forge a baseline sympathetic connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then begin the enchantments required to give each symbol in the warding area power. To cleanse the various ailments that would afflict those within this circle. You begin with the one, not the circle, the area, the one, you begin with the one that is obviously most relevant for her ailment. And begin the process. Meanwhile, we'll swap to Gerard very briefly. The palace guard closes the doors, and he actually goes up to you and kind of whispers to you. Is this the business Lady Astor was discussing with the prince?
Gerard will sort of glance to him and nod.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. He won't say appreciate it like you're my bro, but he'll say I'll say of course, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. And he will bow and simply leave the area as if, yep, that's all he needed. We will then briefly drift on over to Aldrich, who is praying with the distraught and emotional Regent. You can roll perception empathy to get a bearing on who he is, by the way.
Absolutely. Two successes. God damn it.
Okay, get 2 pieces of information. Hey, that's 2 pieces of information. That's not the worst. So you get the information. He's not a particularly pious man. He's a man of fairly average faith. Like, not that faith can really be quantified, but you know what I mean. He wouldn't stand out in a crowd of average mosque-goers, right? And his the severity of which he prays seems to be more born out of desperation. Despite this, he does show a fair strength of will to be able to do so as he does in his state, and does seem to place a certain. And he obviously cares for his daughter and his family in general immensely. He does seem to place a lot of emphasis on his family, and seems to care for them a great deal. And seems to be quite loyal to them, at least in trying to ensure their safety and prosperity and general well-being. He also, one last piece of information. He does state certain viewpoints because he's in quite a desperate state right now. So a few things slip out, which I'll PN you later. But yeah, that's what you get for the moment. And I'm going to roll a d10 for him to see if, because Mr. Gerard, not Gerard, Mr. Adam's ritual takes quite a while. And obviously, this guy is not going to be praying here forever.
Would I be able to initiate prayer and do it slowly?
I'm gonna roll a d10.
Okay.
And see. Do you want to go high or low?
I'm gonna say high.
Okay. Actually, I'm not gonna roll d10. I'm gonna roll d2 because if I get a 5, then I have to re-roll, and it just sucks. So yeah. So we'll go. So yeah, 2 for d2. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. His exhaustion, the fact that you're kind of dragging out this process in as polite and subservient a way as you possibly can, manages to kind of give Adam quite a bit of time. In fact, just about enough. Maybe a few minutes longer.
Possibly.
You're not entirely sure how long his ritual actually takes, though. Unless you've witnessed it directly.
Oh, I've not, no.
Okay, yeah, then you don't actually know how long his ritual takes. Could be 5 minutes, could be 10, could be 20, could be 30, could be an hour. You're not really sure. But he does begin getting up at the 25-minute mark. At which point we're going to swap back to Adam. Adam, your ritual begins to have a noticeable effect on the daughter. She appears. You can see her complexion begin to clear up. You see her start to become more responsive. You see her begin to move.
Okay. It's about that time that he'll start cleaning up everything. And he'll end it with basically, after he cleans up, the ritual stuff, he'll try to like sponge her down a little bit, at least like her, not like any kind of, just the exposed areas, that he used, almost like you would put like a wet cloth on somebody, who's having a fever or something like that, and like.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, he's gonna clean up first and foremost, and then he'll kind of end it with that.
Okay. You don't have a ton of time, so I'm gonna say roll me dexterity athletics.
Oh,
Would it be athletics? I think it would be athletics. Failure won't result in the Regent discovering you, though. This is for a reason other than that. You will have cleaned up by the time the Regent arrives. Okay, you get a single success. Yes. You clean up most of it. Certainly enough that the Regent will never discover it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the young woman begins to stir.
So she's clear, right? Like there's nothing.
To your knowledge, I mean, she certainly looks a hell of a lot better than she was before.
Okay, I'm just talking about like I'm good on the ritual part though. Like there's nothing you could really tell that I did this, right? Like that's my main question.
You cleaned up most of it. There's a couple things under the bed, like, stuff like the chalk and the salt might, you couldn't rub that out because it's the bed and it's awkward. But I mean, that's it, really. Like, I mean, again, yeah, you're not going to be discovered. Like, there's nothing, unless someone was really trying really hard,
Mm-hmm.
or like through sheer luck was like looked underneath the bed and was like, "Oh, what's all this weird stuff?" And even then, would they even trace it back to you? Probably not. In fact, almost certainly not.
Hmm.
To be honest, it's more likely it'll be considered garbage or something else, like some, just just a bunch of rubbish that was beneath the bed of the daughter.
Yeah, he'll just take the.
A bit strange, but certainly no breach of the silence at all.
Okay, cool. That's my main concern. And when she comes to, Selim will um, just kind of put a predication on it with like a certain snap of his bag as it closes, as he finally puts everything away, and at least at the foot of their bed, and just looks at her and says, kind of flatly, "How do you feel?"
As you say that, she begins to stir a little bit more, and her eyes kind of slowly open. She kind of puts her hand on her head. She's still clearly woozy. You understand
Mm-hmm.
your ritual clears up illness, but doesn't always clear up the after effects.
Yeah,
For example, you can clear up disease, you can't clear up something like dehydration.
right. Which she'll set a cup beside her at that point. He just leaves it on the, I guess, like her bedside, like on the, I guess there's like a nightstand perhaps. Um, but yeah, he has some bedside manner.
Um, she kind of slowly reaches out to the goblet of fresh spring water. Some of that sweet Evian.
Some,
Oh,
some of that Deer Park.
some of that sweet Buxton drinking water.
the highest wash water that money can buy.
Mm. Yeah. Some of that sweet Collins water. But yeah, she reaches out and says, "How long have I been?" The hand quivers a little bit, holding a goblet. She just begins slowly drinking from it.
Several weeks, it would appear. Again, he's very flat when he says this. But it looks like you've cleared the worst of it. You'll have to get some rest to recover. Drink plenty of fluids, and a bath would help you. A proper bath, anyways. After you recover some of your energy. But you shall not pass. You shall not pass! Just kidding.
Oh,
He
thank
doesn't
the
yell that.
heavens. I can only presume you're the one who saved my life.
Indeed.
I must smell horrible right now.
That's why I said you might need a bath once you recovered. You've been in the bed for several weeks, and I doubt a hand bath would not do the justice it needs.
She chuckles ever so lightly at that. She seems a little bit more jovial than her father, at least.
I will call your snicker a success. By the way, what is your name?
Miriam.
Ah, Miriam. Beautiful name for a beautiful girl. Woman, excuse me. Anyways, do you think you will require anything else of me?
I don't think that would be for me to say, but
Well, as
I
you are
would
my patient.
appreciate it. I will see if I can convince my father. No doubt he will be immensely grateful.
Are you ready to see him? I can have the guards get him for you.
Maybe a little bit later. He's already seen me in a... I should give myself a moment to compose, but thank you. And thank you for helping me.
Of course. It'll probably be a few days before you get fully on your feet, but after which I'm sure you'll be fine.
I will...
I'll be
Yes.
sure to tell the guards or your father as such to make sure that you have your peace.
Thank you. I always found their presence fairly stifling, to be honest. If you
Trust me, I
could
don't.
teach me how to do that, I would be grateful.
Perhaps one day.
Hmm.
But if you
She
ever
kind
need
of...
me,
Sorry.
if you need me, my name is Adam. I'm sure after today, then perhaps you would be able to find me pretty easily.
Well, I'm after this, I'm sure my father would be immensely happy to have you as his personal physician.
I believe I can assist you, your father, and this family. You all seem to be good people. And perhaps I may be able to teach you a trick or two. He kind of just winks at her.
Hmm. I'd like that. Did she kind of looks around like she's been, she's been sniffling for a while now, but now it kind of turns into like you thought it was maybe just kind of a lingering cold,
Mm-hmm.
but then she just kind of looks around. Did someone pour a bucket of salt in here, or perhaps I'm just merely still delirious?
You've been out for some time, several weeks. The fever probably gotten to you. I'm sure you're just imagining things.
Hey, buddy.
Hmm?
Hey, buddy, you want to roll me a mutilation subterfuge?
God damn you, Chris.
Hey, remember that Cappadocian weakness?
So
Hey,
what
at
am I
least you look
diff?
alive. That's that's nice.
So what am I diff 8 or 6 for this?
This 8.
I fail.
Have her
Whoop.
roll. I'm gonna have her roll dice. She's really good at this as well. This is like the one. She's really good at this. Oh, she only gets one success anyway. But she notes the strangeness of all that, but other than that, doesn't really give it too much second thought. No, I suppose I shall be seeing you tomorrow to ensure that I'm all well.
Of course. Make sure you don't let your father try to get the best of you. He's going to be pretty overwhelmed when he sees you, considering the condition he's in.
Is my father all right? She looks quite concerned at that.
Perhaps you could tell him something that I was not able to get across to him because he was worried about you. And not that that's a bad thing, he's a father, he should be worried about his daughter. But perhaps you might let him, or give him permission to get some rest. Perhaps the daughter can boss around the father this time.
So the door's going to open upon hearing voices on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And Gerard is going to, like, step in and look at Adam.
Oh, hello. I don't believe we've had the pleasure of meeting. She sinks into the bed a little bit.
And how very unfortunate it had to be under these circumstances, my lady.
I see a lot of things have changed while I've been asleep.
He smiles, but then looks at Adam.
She will be fine. Although, she does require some time to gather her wits before her father comes. She begs that much, at least.
And you will be attending to her in that time?
Yes.
As long as it is necessary.
Indeed. I would say maybe he looks to the girl. How long do you say you'll need before you would like your father to come?
Sir, you are her physician. You stay until the job is done, do you not?
Well, if that's the case, we're done for today. She just needs her rest and some peace and quiet. And then he'll start making his way towards the door.
Thank you again.
I'm sure you'll be seeing him very soon.
I'm sure.
And Gerard turns to leave with Adam.
Yeah, Merchant of Bones will just walk alongside Gerard.
We need to find a place out of earshot.
You, as you begin to walk out, as you walk down the hallway, you see Aldrich walking back with the Regent. I assume Aldrich will join his compatriots, and the Regent will.
Sure.
The Regent just kind of looks at you for a moment.
Gerard only, like, very briefly looks at Adam and says, "Diseases do not cure over 20 minutes. You must attend to the girl." be her physician until the wee hours of the morning, come back the next night. It's a charade.
She didn't have...
It's not meant for her.
The Regent looks at you.
Is he here? Like, I needed to be alone with Adam to say that?
Oh yeah, no, you have a few moments alone before you run into Aldrich and the Regent.
Do as you will. That's all I'm suggesting.
I'll stay as long as needed. For right now, she just needs a rest. But she still suffers from what she was, she still suffers, but she'll make it.
It's also to act as a buffer between you and the Regent in that amount of time, so he does not come up with his own conclusions.
Right. I'll make sure to tell him as such. But I don't have long considering.
Gerard just nods and steps away.
So, do you guys run into the Regent, or did the Merchant of Bones go back to tend to Miriam? Sorry.
Merchant of Bones will stay and tend to her for a little bit longer.
Okay. Aldrich will run into Gerard. The Regent will just kind of move straight past him and go back to go straight back into the Miriam's bedroom.
If you'll allow it, Aldrich will say before he and the Regent parts. He'll shit, I just had it. Where is it? There it is. He'll say, Allah hears those who pray to him, or who praise him. With an optimistic kind of half smile.
The knowing smile.
Maybe not knowing. Just like a chin up, old chap. She's gonna pull through. We've got God.
Fair.
But I also smell like fire, so...
That is also true. Don't worry, we've got God. Never mind the brimstone that I reek of.
That's why I wanted to quote Revelations.
In any case, yeah. You say that. When the Regent begins heading back towards Miriam's bedroom, do you break off with Gerard or just continue heading with the Regent?
He'll share. I'm sorry.
Pardon?
I was gonna say he'll share a glance, like he'll glance over to Gerard, just to kind of see what he's doing.
Gerard's just making sure that none of the nothing untoward is happening. He's away from the door and everything, but he's watching to see who goes in, who goes out, all that.
I think in that case, Aldrich might join with the Merchant of Bones. He has been hailed as his assistant thus far.
Okay. As Aldrich and the Regent enter, both the Merchant of Bones and Aldrich are greeted to sounds of a gleeful and loving father who is really just happy to see his daughter alive. And it's quite loud. Everyone in the palace can hear it.
I need you to roleplay the glee. Okay.
No. But as Gerard is outside, he's just kind of wandering a little bit. He does notice down one of the hallways two figures who appear to be walking together. These two, as both of them just kind of notice Gerard and notice all the noise, and you can literally see them like as they walk, they literally stop upon hearing the noise, kind of turn around, see yourself and where the noise is coming from, and the prince just acknowledges your presence, and Lady Astor kind of gives a silent, almost sinister-looking smile as she turns away to go involve herself back into a conversation.
Gerard acknowledges both of them.
And I think with that, we can end our scene there. Upon the everlasting joy of a father who's seen his daughter's life spared this evening, and 3 Canaanites who have managed to walk about the palace, meet the regent, treat his daughter, all without shattering the silence into a million pieces. And isn't that the true victory here?
Indeed. Indeed, I say.
With that Camarilla spirit. It's a shame they reject your application to join and have your clan dabberized, but oh well. Can't have everything. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching, and we'll see you all next time.